In a world where raw American muscle ruled the streets, only three legends dared to push the limits of speed and power. Three machines built for one purpose: absolute dominance. Today, we unleash the kings of late 60s performance, the AMC AMX 390, the Pontiac GTO Ram Air 2, and the Ford Mustang Boss 429. These aren't just cars, they're time-traveling missiles carved from steel, thunder, and attitude. Let's fire up the first beast. Number 3. The year is 1969, and American Motors decides it's time to stop playing safe. They unleash a car so bold, so unexpectedly aggressive, that the entire muscle car scene is forced to take notice. This is the AMC AMX 390, a short wheelbase, two-seat powerhouse that doesn't just roar down the highway, it attacks it. The moment this car fires up, the sound isn't just loud, it's a declaration that AMC is officially done being underestimated. With a top speed touching around 130 to 140 miles per hour, the AMX 390 proves that speed doesn't always come from the biggest brands. Sometimes, the underdog bites back hardest. As the AMX charges forward, its lightweight frame becomes its secret weapon. AMC kept the car short, compact, and brutally focused. No back seat. No unnecessary weight. Just the driver, the engine, and the road. When you push the pedal, the nose lifts slightly, the rear tires dig in, and the car rockets forward with surprising aggression. It's the kind of acceleration that catches even experienced drivers off guard. In the late 60s, this thing could embarrass cars that were way more expensive and way more famous. And that's exactly what made the AMX dangerous. Number feels much higher. It delivers instant torque, hard, heavy, and unfiltered. AMC didn't waste time with complicated tuning, they built an engine that feels raw, mechanical, and alive. Every time it revs, the block vibrates. Under the hood lives the heart of the beast, a 390 cubic inch V8 pumping out around 315 horsepower, though anyone who has driven one will tell you the real number feels much higher. It delivers instant torque, hard, heavy, and unfiltered. AMC didn't waste time with complicated tuning, they built an engine that feels raw, mechanical, and alive. Every time it revs, the block vibrates, the exhaust pulses, and the car practically dares you to push it harder. This was old-school American engineering at its most honest: no electronics, no filters, just pure muscle waiting for orders. The AMX 390 wasn't only about power. It came with impressive handling for its era thanks to its shorter wheelbase and stiff suspension setup. On tight corners, the car feels nimble in a way most muscle cars simply didn't. Where other cars felt big, heavy, and difficult to control, the AMX darted like a fighter jet, small but deadly. The low hood, wide stance, and muscular rear fenders made it look like a predator ready to launch at any moment. Even standing still, it had presence, like it might shake itself free and sprint down the road without a driver. Inside, the AMX kept things simple but sporty. Deep-set gauges, a thick steering wheel, and a cockpit-style dash made the driver feel like they were climbing into something serious. No luxury, no fluff, just the essentials to make the car feel fast even before it moved. And once it did move, the entire experience became addictive. The rumble, the vibration, the surge of power, it all blended together into a feeling modern cars just can't recreate. This wasn't just transportation, it was adrenaline on wheels. Even today, the 1969 AMX 390 stands as proof that legendary performance doesn't need massive marketing or a big-name badge. All it needs is attitude, horsepower, and the courage to challenge giants. And that's exactly what this car did. It became an icon not by following the rules, but by breaking them with a grin. The AMX 390 was fast. Number 2. The moment the 1968 Pontiac GTO Ram Air 2 rolls onto the road, everything else feels a step behind. This isn't just another muscle car from the golden era, this is Pontiac at its most serious, its most aggressive, and its most unapologetically powerful. When the Ram Air 2 fires up, the exhaust has a sharper bite, a deeper pulse, like a heartbeat trained for battle. With a top speed pushing into the 140 miles per hour zone and quarter-mile times that shocked the competition, the GTO Ram Air 2 proved immediately that it wasn't here to be admired from a distance. It was built to dominate. As the car takes off, you feel a wave of torque surge through the frame, the rear end squatting down, the tires fighting for grip. This isn't smooth power, it's explosive, demanding respect with every inch of acceleration. In the late 60s, street racers knew instantly, if you saw the special Ram Air decals on the hood, you were in trouble. Under that aggressively styled hood sits the magic Pontiac's Ram Air 2 400 cubic inch V8. Rated at 366 horsepower, but in reality delivering far more, this engine was hand-built for performance. Pontiac engineers gave it a radical camshaft, round port heads, a forged rotating assembly, and a high-flow carburetor system that only came alive when the engine was pushed hard. And when it did, the power came in waves, smooth at first, then suddenly violent as the secondaries opened and the intake gulped massive amounts of air. The Ram Air 2 wasn't just strong, it was engineered to breathe aggressively. The functional hood scoops weren't decoration, they forced cool air directly into the carburetor. The faster you went, the more it wanted to accelerate. It was a self-feeding machine, almost alive in the way it responded to speed. What made the Ram Air 2 truly special was the balance between brute force and refined engineering. Where many muscle cars simply dumped power onto the pavement, Pontiac worked on creating a car that could handle its own aggression. Heavy-duty suspension components, stronger motor mounts, upgraded gearing, and an optional close ratio for speed made it a proper performance package. On long stretches of road, the GTO felt planted, confident, and ready for more. Push it into a corner and you'd feel the wide body grip the asphalt with surprising stability for a car of its time. The stance, the weight distribution, and the torque all combined into a uniquely controlled type of muscle, raw, but smart. It wasn't the wildest car to handle, but it demanded you be alert. It rewarded skilled drivers and punished the careless. Inside, the GTO Ram Air 2 delivered the perfect mix of comfort and aggression. The cockpit wrapped around the driver with deep gauges, a wood-trimmed dash, and bucket seats that held you in place when the engine came alive. It had a sense of seriousness, like stepping into a machine meant for battle rather than a casual cruise. Everything inside whispered performance. Even the way the shifter clicked into gear felt deliberate, mechanical, confident. When you pressed the throttle, the entire cabin vibrated with a deep, satisfying rumble that reminded you exactly what kind of beast you were riding. On the streets of 1968, the Ram Air 2 was feared. Not because it was flashy, but because word spread fast about what it could do. Only a small number were ever built, making it not just powerful but rare and underground legend among muscle car purists. It could roll up to any stoplight with quiet confidence, knowing it had the firepower to embarrass almost anything next to it. Today, it stands as one of the most respected GTOs ever created, a symbol of Pontiac's golden years when engineers were allowed to go wild and build machines with soul. Number 1. When the Ford Mustang Boss 429 steps into the spotlight, it doesn't just look powerful, it radiates authority. This wasn't a car built for casual cruising or simple street fun. It was born from Ford's obsession with dominating NASCAR, and to make that happen, they needed an engine so big, so brutally overbuilt, that the Mustang's body had to be reshaped just to contain it. The moment you see the widened fenders, the lowered stance, and that massive hood scoop, you know instantly that this machine means business. With a top speed creeping into the high 140 mph range and a thunderous personality that shook every street it touched, the Boss 429 became one of the most mythical Mustangs ever created. When it takes off, the surge of power feels different, smoother, deeper, and heavier, like the car is gathering momentum with the force of a rolling storm. This wasn't the noisy, wild kind of muscle, this was controlled violence, engineered with precision. Under the hood rests the soul of the beast, Ford's legendary 429 cubic inch NASCAR-derived V8, known simply as the Boss 9. Officially rated at 375 horsepower, but in truth far beyond that number, this engine was built to live at high RPMs, breathing through huge semi-Hemi heads that looked like they belonged on a racetrack, not a street car. The intake ports were massive, the valves oversized, and the entire block engineered to handle extreme temperatures and incredible stress. At idle it rumbled like a caged animal, but once the RPMs climbed, the engine transformed smooth, powerful, and endlessly hungry for more throttle. It felt like it was waking up, layer by layer, returning to the environment it was born for. The harder you drove it, the more alive it became, making the Boss 429 one of the few muscle cars that demanded high-speed driving to truly reveal its character. But the Boss wasn't just an engine stuffed into a shell, Ford treated the entire car like a performance experiment. Carcraft, the special shop responsible for the build, reinforced the chassis, reworked the front suspension, and modified the shock towers so that the giant engine could fit without compromising balance. The result was a Mustang that handled better than most muscle cars of its time. It felt planted, with a front end that carried surprising control despite the massive weight of the engine. Give it a long stretch of open road and it felt unstoppable, the nose pointed forward with deadly purpose, the body cutting through the air like a bullet shaped from Detroit steel. On tight turns it demanded respect, but in capable hands it delivered a level of stability and confidence rare in late 60s muscle machines. Inside, the Boss 429 kept things muscular but stylish. Deep bucket seats, a clean dashboard, and a focused cockpit-like environment reminded the driver that this Mustang wasn't built for show, it was built for performance. No flashy extras, no unnecessary gadgets, just a driver, a shifter, and an engine big enough to rewrite Mustang history. The moment you grip the steering wheel, you can feel the weight of the car's legacy. You feel the purpose behind every mechanical detail. When the engine revs and the whole cabin vibrates, it's a reminder that this was one of the closest things to a NASCAR engine the public could legally buy. In the streets of 1969 and 1970, the Boss 429 became a legend not because it was common, but because it was rare, intimidating, and unbelievably capable. Only a small number were ever produced, making it one of the most sought-after Mustangs in the world today. It wasn't the loudest or the flashiest, but it had a presence that silenced any competition around it. Even standing still, it looked like a heavyweight champion ready to step into the ring. The Ford Mustang Boss 429 wasn't just a muscle car, it was an engineering statement, a rolling reminder of what happens when a company pushes the limits purely for the love of speed. Brutal, beautiful, and unforgettable, the Boss 429 remains one of the greatest machines ever to wear the Mustang badge.